I used to think my marriage was solid. Not perfect. Nothing ever is, but solid. My name's Natalie, and I was married to my husband, Eric, for 9 years. We met in our late 20s, both working at the same tech company in different departments. I was in HR. He was in data analytics. Our relationship started casually, bloomed fast, and within a year we were engaged. He was charming in a quiet way, thoughtful, steady, the kind of man you feel safe with. I thought that mattered more than butterflies. At the time, it did. We didn't have kids by choice. I've never had that deep maternal urge people talk about, and Eric said he felt the same. We traveled a lot, hosted dinner parties, and eventually bought a house outside of Portland. Life was good. Predictable, stable, full of small joys, like Sunday morning coffee on the patio or cooking new recipes together. He always did the dishes, even if I cooked terribly. That sort of thing. The small gestures that, over time, build trust. But now I know that even stable lives can be based on lies. I know that you can spend a decade with someone and never really know them at all. It started with a phone call. I was working from home when I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I ignore those, but something told me to pick up. Maybe it was the local area code. Maybe it was instinct. A woman's voice came through the line. Soft, hesitant. Hi, is this Natalie? Yes. Who's this? My name is Allison. I'm not sure how to say this, but I think your husband might be married to me. I remember the feeling that washed over me. Not confusion, not disbelief, just numb, like my brain was buffering. I laughed, not because I thought it was funny, but because I had no better reaction. You're saying, Eric? My Eric? Yes, she said. Eric White? Works in analytics, drives a silver Subaru? I sat down on the edge of the bed. I think you should explain. And she did. Allison had met Eric 5 years ago. 5. She was a nurse at a hospital he'd done consulting work for. According to her, they'd started dating, and within a year, they'd moved in together in a condo in Beaverton. She thought he traveled a lot for work, which, in a twisted way, was true. When he wasn't with me, he was with her. He split his weeks between our home and hers, and somehow I never noticed. He'd say he had off-site meetings, late nights with clients, conferences, all lies. But it got worse. They had a daughter, 3 years old, a little girl named Sophie. Allison only found out about me because Sophie had gotten sick, and when she asked Eric to put her on his insurance, he fumbled. She started digging, found documents, found our house, found our wedding photos. Then she found me. I didn't cry, not right away. I just thanked her. Politely, weirdly, like we'd just had an awkward conversation at a dinner party. She apologized over and over, and I told her she didn't owe me anything. She didn't know. She was just another woman who trusted a man who didn't deserve it. When I hung up, I just sat there for a long time. My ears were ringing. My hands were cold. I waited for Eric to come home, like a bomb ticking down. He arrived at 6:42 p.m., just like always. I watched him pull into the driveway, walk up the porch, and come through the door carrying Thai takeout. Smiling like nothing had changed. I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I said, "How's Sophie?" His smile vanished. He didn't ask how I knew. He just sat down like his legs gave out and buried his face in his hands. I'd love to say that I kicked him out immediately, that I stood up, righteous and strong, and told him to get the hell out. But I didn't. I listened. Because I needed answers. Because my heart hadn't caught up with my brain. He told me it started with a mistake. That Allison was supposed to be a fling. That he didn't mean to fall in love. That he didn't mean to have a child. That he was trapped in both lives and didn't know how to choose. That he thought he could keep it going indefinitely. I asked him, "Why didn't you just leave me?" He looked up at me with this pathetic, watery expression and said, "Because I love you." That was the first time I slapped him. I told him to get out. He did, without a word. Left the food on the counter, didn't take anything but his phone. I watched him drive away and told myself he was out of my life. But that was only the beginning. In the days that followed, I went into investigative mode. I needed to know how deep the deception went. Bank accounts, text messages, work records. And what I found shocked me. Eric wasn't just living a double life. He had a third life, too. Another woman. Another city. Seattle. This one was younger, just 27. Her name was Bree, and they'd met on a consulting trip. He stayed with her when he was in town, which was twice a month. She didn't know about me or Allison. She thought he was divorced. She thought they were exclusive. They weren't. I reached out to her. I'd become good at that, breaking the news gently. She didn't take it well. She blocked me at first, then texted me a day later thanking me and saying she'd ended it. I didn't care, honestly. I was already hollow inside. Divorce proceedings were brutal. Not because of the money, we didn't have a prenup, but I didn't want much. Just to be done. But Eric dragged it out, claimed emotional distress, tried to downplay his infidelity. His lawyer even suggested I had neglected him emotionally during the marriage. I wanted to burn it all down, but I didn't. I played it cool, documented everything. Let the court see the full picture. The judge wasn't impressed by Eric's circus act. I got the house, I got half his retirement, and I got peace. Or so I thought. About 6 months later, I got an email. It was from Allison. She asked if we could meet. I hesitated, but curiosity won. We met at a coffee shop. She looked exhausted, pale, worn down in a way that I recognized all too well. "I'm sorry to bother you," she said, but I didn't know who else to turn to. "What's going on?" She looked around, leaned in, and said, "I think Eric is doing it again. With someone new." I blinked. "Already?" She nodded. "He's been leaving at weird hours. I found messages on his phone. Flirty stuff. A hotel receipt." I sipped my coffee. "So why tell me?" She hesitated. "Because I think I might be pregnant again." That hit me like a punch to the gut. Not because I cared about Eric anymore, but because I didn't want this woman, who'd already suffered so much, to be tied to him forever. She asked if I could help her hire a PI. Said she didn't have much money. I agreed. Not because I owed her, but because I knew what it felt like to be blindsided. And I had money now. From the divorce. I figured this was a better use than a vacation. The PI worked fast. Within 2 weeks, he confirmed that Eric had been seeing a fourth woman. This one lived in Vancouver. She was a freelance artist. No idea about any of us. Allison cried when she found out. Not just from heartbreak, but from exhaustion. From the sheer absurdity of it all. That's when I made a decision. I was going to expose him. Not just to the women, but publicly. I created a blog, anonymous at first, detailed everything. Every timeline, every photo, every receipt. I named names, blurred faces. I didn't want to ruin innocent lives, but I wanted people to know who Eric White really was. It went viral. Women started messaging me. Some said they'd dated him years ago and had similar experiences. Some said they knew someone who had. One woman said he'd tried to hit on her at a conference while wearing a wedding ring. Eric tried to threaten me, sent cease and desist letters, called me a crazy ex-wife. But I had receipts, screenshots, voicemails. I wasn't afraid. Eventually, the company he worked for fired him. Not because of the affairs, but because the blog revealed he'd misused company funds during travel. I didn't even know about that part. But once HR looked into it, he was gone. Allison gave birth to a second child. A boy. She named him Elijah. Eric didn't show up to the birth. He disappeared, basically. Nobody knew where he went. Until 3 months ago. I got a message from Bree, the woman from Seattle. She said, "You're not going to believe this." Attached was a photo. Eric. In a new city. New name. Working under a consulting agency in Denver. And with a new woman. She looked barely out of college. I laughed. Out loud. I couldn't help it. It's like he couldn't stop. Like some parasite feeding on affection. But this time, I did something different. Nothing. I didn't message the new woman. I didn't blog about it. I didn't call anyone. I let it go. Because I realized something. I'm not the police for women who fall for Eric White. I've done my part. I survived. I exposed the truth. I helped the women I could. I found closure. And now I'm rebuilding. I started writing full-time. That blog turned into a memoir deal. I bought a small cabin outside of Bend. I hike. I read. I drink tea in the morning sun. Sometimes I still get messages. Women asking if I'm the Natalie, and I say yes. And they thank me. Not just for exposing him, but for proving that survival is possible. If you're reading this and you've been betrayed, just know this. You're not stupid. You're not weak. You're not broken. You were kind. You were trusting. You loved someone who didn't deserve it. That doesn't make you less. It makes them less. And you? You're going to be just fine. Maybe even better than fine. Like me.